Y'all, how about my earrings, right? Okay, this is like lockdown crafts 101. My kid and I made these and now we feel awesome, okay? We look way too cool to be grounded in the house. Like, we need to be out on the town strutting. That's what I got to say. Hello everyone, I'm Heather. I'm back for a really quick video. This one is a tag, which I love. Tag is just it's just a nice thing to do on a day off, isn't it? It's just delightful. I was tagged in this tag by Sean the Book Maniac, who I love. Like, all of his tags specifically are really good. And the tag was originally created by the Codex Canteen, so I'll like put all that stuff below. So the questions as they're written are, you know, really good, really well laid out, you know. It gets you properly in the imaginative spirit for answering the question. But because it was quite a long question, I didn't actually write any of those down. I just wrote down a prompt to sort of like let me know which question it is. So if I get a chance, I'll like put the question up in its full beautiful form. But at the minute, all I've got is just like the chunked up version. So the first question is the last book you read that gave you a book high. And really depressingly, when I went through and tried to figure out the last time I had a book high, I think the answer I came up with is when I was a kid or like a teenager or just like in university. And that can't be true. That can't be what it is. And I think it's because I'm comparing me finishing books I love to me when I was a kid finishing books I love, and like the feeling afterwards after finishing a book I love isn't quite as strong now. So I think it's just that I'm comparing it to book highs when I was a kid and thinking, oh, I haven't had a book high since then. But I think I need to just be realistic with myself and be like, book highs as an adult aren't as strong, you know? When I like finished Harry Potter when I was a kid, you know, like I waited a year and then I finally got my place at like Barnes & Noble at midnight to get the book, and then I came home and then I couldn't read it because my dad wouldn't let me, so I had to go to bed and I had to just watch the book on my nightstand while I tried to sleep for ages. And then I woke up and the first thing I did was get the book out and then read the whole thing in a day, and then just it was fantastic and just like feels like deep sighs, like that was fantastic and I cannot fucking possibly wait until the next one that comes out. And I need to tell everyone, I need to call all my friends and say, did you know that so and so happens? You know, did you get to that part yet? Can we please have deep, intense conversations about how amazing it was? Anyway, so that really hasn't happened to me roughly since university, when I like stopped reading the Outlander novels and they just sort of ran out and I didn't have any more to read. So I think the closest that I can get as an adult, maybe, is the one I read, Emma, you know, by Jane Austen. And I know that I'm like late to the club on the Emma situation, but I read it, I think maybe like late 20s-ish. And it was so good. It was so good. Like, loads of people who love Emma are like shouting at the screen right now, like, yes girl, of course. Why did you wait until your late 20s to read Emma? But I just never got around to it, and it was like, it was just so good. Like, if I loved you less, I could express myself more. Like, I just can't. It was just amazing. And I think that was probably the closest I've gotten in my adult years to a book high. Okay, so the next one is the longest book you've ever read. And this was, you know, quite shocking really. I did it on Goodreads, you know, just like ordered the books that I've read by the sort of most amount of pages. And the one came up is The Fiery Cross by Diana Gabaldon. This is like one of the Outlander books, right? So I don't know where it comes in a series because I can never really remember the titles of the books as they go along. Like, I can't even really remember the titles. I feel like they're quite forgettable. So The Fiery Cross, I think, is after they've left Scotland and France and everything like that, and now they're fully living in America, like in the Carolinas on their property, like Fraser's Ridge or whatever, I think is where The Fiery Cross comes in. So maybe like fourth or fifth one? I don't know. Anyway, apparently it had more than 1,400 pages. You could have blown me over with that because I had no idea it was that long. Like, I mean, I know they're big. I know that they're chunkers of books. But when I see them, I just think, that's a good size, you know, and then I just devour it in 82 seconds. And then at the end, I'm like, well, that wasn't long enough, you know? What happens to so-and-so? Can't believe so-and-so died, you know? Like, I need more. Like, clearly 1,400 pages was not good enough and we're going to need to have more pages. So the next question is a book you enjoyed more the first time than on a reread. And if you don't reread books, then why? And I think for me the answer is that I don't reread books. Like I have done in the past, but usually when I'm forced to, you know, like I read a book and then now someone in school or whatever wants me to read it and I have to reread it, or, you know, someone in a book club or something has chosen this book and now we have to reread it. I wouldn't generally choose to reread a book, even books I really like. And I think to answer like the why of that would be to unlock all of the deepest, darkest secrets of my personality, because it's like a theme that like runs across my whole world, you know? I don't really watch movies twice. I don't really watch shows twice. I never go to like the same vacation destination twice. Like, I get tired of hobbies once I've mastered them and they're no longer new and exciting, do you know? Like, I just love new things. I love things that engage me because I know nothing about them and I've never seen them before. Like, I love starting new jobs, you know, but after I've had a job for like a couple of years, I'm just like annoyed by everything, you know, like, ugh, well, this is stupid. And this is stupid and this is the worst. And I feel like then I need to get a new job so that it's something more exciting, you know? And I think loads of people are the opposite, you know, they feel better with things that they know well and they're comfortable in, you know? I think that that's just not me, the personality, unfortunately. Some like, you know, inner psyche real talk right now. Like I should be my own therapist is like where we're coming from with this. Number 4 is a book you read in very few sittings. And I remember, okay, so I read The Giver. Okay, you know this one is like Lois Lowry or something. Like I'll put it up. Anyway, I read this in work in just a single go. Like it's only, okay, so it's like a kid's book. It's like a middle grade book. But the themes in it and the ideas in it, I feel are way more like adult than for kids. You know, it's really strong. Like really good for adults. It was still gripping even though I was, you know, old. But it's only 200 pages. It's like officially a kid's book. So it's a fast read anyway, you know, a couple hours. But I was glued, okay? Like I didn't get up to go pee. I didn't make more coffee. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't answer any emails. I didn't stop to Google something. I didn't pick up my phone for a text message. Just straight through from cover to cover, you know, with no distractions. I was gripped. It's so good. Like, if you haven't read it, the idea is sort of that this kid lives in like a futuristic society where they like manufacture people. Like they manufacture like births and families. Like, you know, the babies aren't born to a family. The babies are sort of like engineered and then they're added to a family based on certain statistics and blah, blah. And people don't have like really strong feelings or emotions or things happening to them. Like they don't feel the highs or the lows. And then this kid is sort of given the opportunity to sort of see what they're all missing. And he starts to feel the highs, you know, he's like, yes, yes, yes. And then he feels the really deep lows, you know. And so the book is basically saying, we need the lows for the highs. You know, you don't want to sort of like drown out all the bad things because that's, you know, the price of the good things or whatever. Anyway, just basically saying that emotion and feeling and sort of things happening for real in life is like too beautiful and too gorgeous to sort of be numbed, you know, like we need it. Anyway, it like shook me. I was stuck to my chair. It was so good. Okay, number 5 is a book you had to put down and why? And this actually came up recently. My book club, they're reading one of the books that I had to put down ages ago, and tried several times afterwards to sort of like get it going again and just have failed. I've like DNF'd it several times. So it's The Alchemist, right? By Paulo something. I'll put it up here somewhere. So the reason that I picked it up originally, I think I was quite young, maybe sort of like teenage or so. And everyone was on about how it's an amazing book. It's life-changing, you know, it's so profound. It's just an amazing journey. And I was like, oh, I want an amazing journey, you know. But then I just couldn't really get into it. I found it really boring and like, like, I think part of me found it like a bit, I don't know, forced, like trying too hard, maybe a bit like pretentious. I don't know. So many of the books that you see and hear about that people absolutely love, it's like, ooh, I'm gonna love that too. But like the truth is that a lot of the reasons that things stick with people so strongly is it like speaks to a part of them that isn't in everybody. Do you know what I mean? And I think for The Alchemist, okay, like this is like deeply like psychological now. Like this video is some real deep talk. I think the reason that The Alchemist speaks so deeply to people is that it speaks to the part of them that's really into like spiritual journeys. I have no idea why like the spiritual journey trope for me is not only not one that I enjoy, but one that I find deeply annoying. And I hate that. I hate that about myself because I don't think that I'm like not a spiritual person at all. You know, I'm not like a hollowed out woman. You know, I'm not a dead fish. I still like, you know, have deep thoughts driving home late at night. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like I still get in touch with the universe every once in a while, you know, when communing with nature. But I feel like stories that are about a person's specific spiritual journey, I just can't tap into it. And like, only God knows why, really, to be honest. Anyway, sorry, that was really long. Okay, number 6 is book genres you've been wanting to try outside of your comfort zone. And I think for this one, I don't really have any that I've been wanting to try that I haven't already tried. I think I'm really good with this, actually. Again, tapping into my thing about things I need that are new, isn't it? Oh, shit. Oh, that was deep. But when I think, don't really know about this genre, maybe it's a bit outside my zone, you know, I always just give it a go. And the last one I think that I cracked into is graphic novels. I dipped into them and now I'm stuck. Me and my kid read one every night, you know, like not a whole one, but we read graphic novels every night and we've gone through loads of them. Like recently we've done Best Friends. I'll put the author up there. I think Shannon Hale is the author. And we got new ones in the mail. We got Sheets in the mail, ready to go. And we've got Lumberjanes in the mail, ready to go. And also one that I've ordered on the way is Babysitter's Little Sister. I think Karen's Witch or something is the next one that we're going to get. But we love the Bad Guy series. We love the Catstronauts. There was one that we really liked called Roller Girl. Like, we're on top of this now and we love them. Like there's a couple adult ones just for me that I'm looking to read as well. I have on my shelf the one by George Takei, you know, I can't think of the name of it now, like I'll put it up, but it's the one where he was a kid in Japanese internment camps, which I think will be really grim, but I'm really excited to get that one going. Anyway, question number 7 is a book that slowly turned sour, but that you finished anyway, and are you glad that you finished it? So I think I tend not to DNF books, really. Like the Alchemist I did DNF, and like a couple more like on that section of the Great American Reads list I did DNF also. But I tend not to. Like, if it goes slowly sour, I'm likely to just carry on doing that, you know, like it's only if it's months and months I just can't get going is when I'll DNF it. I think the last one was Go Ask Alice. It's by Anonymous. Okay, so I didn't really know anything about this book. I just remembered that when I was a kid, my friend Tori, her mom made her read it, like as homework. She's like, Mom, you're giving me homework? She's like, yes. So, and it was because, I don't know, Tori was like misbehaving or like being bad or something, or like going down a bad road or something. I remember my friend having to read this and then her reading it and going, this is wild. This is nuts. I can't believe this. This is crazy. I can't read any more of this. But I never actually read it. So for Reading Rush last year, I chose to actually finally read it. And I was like, so started out, I was like, oh, well, this is a bit weird. This is a bit off. Like something's sort of up with it. Like, okay, the premise is this girl in like the 60s or 70s or whatever. She's a nice girl. You know, she's polite. She does her chores, you know. She's loved by her family, but then she goes off the rails. She like does drugs. You know, she does like harder and harder drugs and starts sleeping with randoms and like prostitutes herself for money and stuff like that. So, like, as you're reading it, you're like, well, this seems like, okay, like, it starts to go really grim really fast, and it starts to seem like, why would that thing actually be a gateway for this other really, like, intense thing? Like, this doesn't seem like a likely progression for someone who wouldn't have anything to do with drugs to someone who now prostitutes herself for drugs. It just seemed like really quick and really forced and really crazy, and like, I started to think about it, and I was like, it sounds like if my grandma was to sort of write me like a cautionary tale about drugs, you know, but she didn't know anything about drugs or like what is likely to get a person into drugs or anything like that. And I started like, I read it to the end. I was like, this was terrible. I can't believe I read this. This absolutely sucked. But then I googled it afterwards, and it was actually written like that. The anonymous person it was written by wasn't this kid that was into drugs. It was like this Mormon teacher or something. Like, she wrote it in order to get kids, you know, to be like afraid of doing drugs. She just made up this tale in her mind about what would make a young, nice, Mormon, lovely girl turn to drugs and the streets and prostitution and everything. And she obviously had no idea what would actually make that happen, because it was wild, and like, it didn't fit at all. So I'm glad I read it, because the experience has taught me a lot about like my childhood, and I have always wanted to sort of like figure out what the mystery was behind what my friend was reading and feeling was really wild. So I'm glad I read it, but it wasn't good. Don't read it. Okay, the last one is a book you looked into because of peer pressure, and are you glad that you looked into it? And I was thinking a lot about this one, and I think when I was younger, like teenage years and in my 20s and what have you, I did a lot of reading books because of peer pressure, you know, because I don't know, didn't know as much about myself, and like, basically everything was up in the air. Like, do I like that? You know, something that I'm like, I don't like that. If someone's like, are you sure you don't like that? Suddenly I'm like, maybe I do like it. I don't know. So I'm in my 30s now. I've been an adult for a really long time, you know. I no longer really do that. I know who I am as a person now. You know, I'm confident with myself and who I am and my, you know, limitations and such. So when people are like, oh, you should read this book, I'm generally like, ooh, thanks. You know, but no, I'm not gonna like that. And I just know, because I'm not only like more confident in knowing what I like, I'm also more confident in saying that that's what I don't like. Like, I'm not a dick about it, you know. I'm not like, everything you like sucks, you know. But I think I'm like, ooh, that's not for me, you know, just honestly. But I think the last time this probably happened is gonna be Lord of the Rings. Like, unpopular opinion time. I think I just don't really get on with Lord of the Rings, and only God knows why, really, because Harry Potter is my bitch. I love Harry Potter. It's my favorite and has been for decades. And Lord of the Rings is not unlike Harry Potter. It has a load of the same elements. I just couldn't get on with it. I think it's because it's sort of like if Harry Potter was written in the 30s, and I don't hugely get on with books that, you know, were written in the 30s. I don't know why. I'm just not into that sort of style. I got all the way through the first one, so go me, especially because it was on the Great American Reads list, and I was like, I need to nail this book for the list. But after I read it, I was like, definitely not going to read the other ones. It's really boring. I ended up scanning loads of the sections and sort of zoning out, you know, thinking about lunch and stuff like that. And if you love Lord of the Rings, I'm really sorry. I don't want to like slag off everything you love. This happened like in my book club as well. I feel like an asshole. I feel like the worst. In the book club meeting chat we had like over Skype or whatever this week, we were talking about the next book that we're going to read. So the next book coming up is The Alchemist, like I said. And then we were trying to decide another book after that to read. And people were sort of saying about another sort of spiritual journey type book. So The Alchemist is coming up, which I just hate. And then they were on about like a couple of other books that have like a similar vein, like a sort of similar like spiritual journey type vein. And I just like, I just couldn't cope. I just sort of like lashed out a bit, and I felt fucking terrible afterwards. I'm the worst. I'm a terrible person. I just feel really bad slagging off things that people love, but I feel like when you're in a book club, right? Like you have to be honest, right? You have to be like, I'm not going to read The Alchemist, and also I don't want to read anything that's like that. So anytime that we have that, I'm probably not going to do that, and I don't want to quit the book club. Like loads of people have told me that they were in book clubs before and then quit the book club because loads of the people that were in it wanted to read completely different things to them, you know, and they like not only kept picking books that they didn't really get on with, but they kept picking books they hate, you know. And I don't want to quit the book club. I like my book club and I like my book club people. So the way to not quit the book club is to surely be honest about like your intentions with the book club, right? Right? I did like apologize to everyone afterwards because I love them and I don't want them to hate me, but Jesus, dear God, The Alchemist is terrible. Right, thank you for watching. Hope it wasn't too boring or rambling or whatever, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.